Chapter 1, The Unexpected Dismissal. I was 18 when Marcus Blackwood decided my fate in exactly 47 seconds. I know because I was watching the clock on his mahogany desk, its golden hands mocking me as my world crumbled. The morning had started like any other at Pinnacle Marketing Solutions, coffee brewing in the break room, keyboards clicking in harmony, and the familiar buzz of a company that thought it knew what success looked like. "Alex." Marcus had called from his corner office, his voice carrying that particular tone that made interns and junior employees scatter like startled pigeons. A word. I straightened my tie, the same black one I'd worn to my grandfather's funeral just months before, and walked across the polished floor that reflected the city's skyline through floor-to-ceiling windows. Marcus Blackwood was everything I thought I wanted to become: sharp suits, sharper wit, and a corner office that screamed power. At 35, he was the youngest department head in company history, with piercing blue eyes that could dissect your soul and a smile that never quite reached those eyes. "Sit," he said, not looking up from his laptop. The chair across from his desk felt like an electric chair, and I perched on its edge, hands clasped to stop them from shaking. "I'll cut to the chase. Kid, you're not working out." The words hit like physical blows. "Your last 3 campaigns missed the mark completely. The Henderson account specifically requested someone with more maturity. But sir, the metrics showed that you're not ready for this level of responsibility." He finally looked up, and I saw something in his expression that chilled me, not anger, not disappointment, but cold indifference. "We're letting you go. Security will escort you out." 47 seconds. That's all it took to shatter every dream I'd harbored since starting as an intern 6 months ago. I'd worked 80-hour weeks, canceled dates, missed family dinners, and sacrificed my social life to prove myself worthy of a permanent position. The irony wasn't lost on me that I was being dismissed for lacking maturity when I'd been more dedicated than employees twice my age. "Is there any chance to?" "The decision is final." Marcus was already back to his laptop, fingers dancing across keys as if I'd already evaporated. "HR will handle the paperwork." The walk to my desk felt like a death march. Co-workers averted their eyes, some whispering behind computer monitors. Sarah from accounting gave me a sympathetic look, but even she couldn't meet my gaze directly. I packed my personal items, a small succulent my sister had given me, my favorite mug with "World's Most Caffeinated Employee" printed on it, and a framed photo of my family at last Christmas, into a cardboard box that seemed pathetically small for 6 months of my life. The security guard, a kind man named Pete who'd always greeted me warmly in the mornings, looked genuinely sorry as he walked me to the elevator. "Good luck, kid," he whispered as the doors closed, and I descended from the 42nd floor for what I thought was the last time. Chapter 2, The Descent and Rise. The months following my dismissal were the darkest of my young life. I moved back into my childhood bedroom, surrounded by high school trophies and college textbooks that now felt like artifacts from someone else's life. My parents tried to be supportive, but I could see the disappointment in my father's eyes, the same disappointment I felt every morning when I looked in the mirror. Job applications became my full-time occupation, but the marketing world is smaller than people think. Word spreads quickly about why someone leaves a prestigious company, and Marcus Blackwood's version of events painted me as incompetent and unreliable. Interviews became exercises in creative storytelling, trying to explain a 6-month employment gap without revealing the truth. But sometimes, the universe has a sense of irony that borders on poetic justice. 3 months after my dismissal, while working as a barista at a local coffee shop just to pay off student loans, I met Elena Vasquez. She was a regular customer who always ordered a double espresso with a dash of cinnamon, and she had this way of looking at people that made them feel truly seen. Elena was the founder and CEO of Momentum Digital, a boutique marketing firm that specialized in exactly the kind of innovative campaigns that larger companies were too risk-averse to attempt. "You're wasted here," she said one rainy Tuesday morning, gesturing at my barista apron. "I've been watching you handle difficult customers for weeks. You've got something most people in business lack, genuine empathy combined with quick thinking." "I appreciate that, but I'm not exactly corporate material anymore," I replied, steaming milk for her drink. "Who told you that?" Her dark eyes flashed with curiosity. "Let me guess, some middle-aged man in an expensive suit who thinks creativity dies after age 30. The accuracy of her assessment was startling. Over the following weeks, Elena and I developed what started as casual conversations but evolved into something resembling mentorship. She shared stories of her own career setbacks, times when established companies had overlooked her because she was a Latina woman in a field dominated by white men who'd inherited their positions rather than earned them. The best revenge, she told me one morning, isn't getting mad, it's getting better. Chapter 3, The Education. Elena offered me a position at Momentum Digital, not out of pity, but because she saw potential that Marcus Blackwood had been too narrow-minded to recognize. The salary was lower than what I'd made at Pinnacle, but the education was priceless. Elena became not just my boss but my professor in the Graduate School of Real-World Business Strategy. Under her guidance, I learned that creativity and data weren't opposing forces but complementary tools. I discovered that understanding human psychology was more valuable than memorizing marketing textbooks. Most importantly, I learned that authentic passion could outperform polished presentations every single time. My first major project was rebranding a struggling local restaurant chain. Instead of the generic, family-friendly dining experience approach that larger firms typically suggested, I spent weeks actually eating at their locations, talking to customers, observing staff interactions. I noticed that their most loyal customers weren't families but young professionals who appreciated the authentic, no-nonsense atmosphere. The campaign I developed focused on real food for real people, a concept that celebrated authenticity over artificial polish. We created social media content featuring actual employees and customers, not hired models. We partnered with local food bloggers who genuinely loved the restaurant, not influencers with millions of followers but no real connection to the brand. The results exceeded everyone's expectations. Within 6 months, the restaurant chain's revenue increased by 40%, and they'd opened 3 new locations. More importantly, the campaign won 2 industry awards and landed Momentum Digital on the radar of major corporations looking for fresh perspectives. Elena's philosophy was simple: don't just sell products, tell stories. Don't just reach customers, connect with humans. Under her mentorship, I developed skills that no business school curriculum could have taught me. I learned to see patterns where others saw chaos, to find opportunities where others saw obstacles. But perhaps most importantly, I learned patience. Elena often reminded me that the best victories aren't achieved through quick strikes but through sustained excellence. Your former boss will notice you eventually, she said with a knowing smile, but when he does, you want to be so far ahead of where he dismissed you that he'll question his own judgment.